Hey everybody, and welcome back to today's episode of Q&A Friday on Fly Fish University TV, answering your fly fishing questions from all over the world. My name is Jordan Ulrich, I'm your host, and today we're talking strike indicators, we're talking proper hook setting, and we're going to talk about a neat little knot that you can use to attach two irregular sized pieces of tippet together. I think you're going to enjoy today's episode, and just before we get started, in case you didn't know, we just put out a brand new digital fly fishing journal that you can grab for $7, save it to any device. And the nice thing about this, I started journaling digitally after losing a set of physical journals during a move in 2019. Now I've got them all over my cloud storages. I can't lose them. I never have to buy another one again. I just duplicate the file, and I'm excited to be able to share this with you. So you can go to flyfishuniversity.com/journal, grab yourself a copy. I really hope it serves you on your fly fishing journey, and I hope you love today's episode. The time has come for another episode of Q&A Friday, and I couldn't be more excited. I really enjoy this each and every week. You know, we get to sit down, take some fly fishing or fly tying questions, and just answer them from people all over the world. And you know what? It's a really enjoyable experience to be able to look into some of these questions and see what people really enjoy learning about the most, and especially helping people that are right at the very start fast track their way to having more successful outings on the water. That's kind of what Fly Fish University is all about, is really shortening that learning curve. Knowledge breeds confidence, confidence breeds ultimately a better fly fishing experience. So anyways, before we get started, in case you haven't, you can submit a question at flyfishuniversity.com/questions. I'll take my absolute best stab at it. If I don't know it, then I'll ask one of my friends that I'm so lucky to have in the fishing industry that are so knowledgeable in so many different fields. So today we're talking three different things. The first question comes from Jesse in Bend, Oregon, and it says, there's so many types of strike indicators out there, I get a bit overwhelmed. What's the best strike indicator and why? Well, that is a good question. And I would say that comes down to the type of water that you're fishing. Are you fishing still water, moving water? And what's the behavior of the fish that you're targeting? Are they spooky? You know, are you fishing really clear water? Are you fishing, conditions that are really choppy? For example, on still water, sometimes that's going to affect the size and shape of the indicator that we're going to be fishing. So I'm just going to share with you my personal opinion. Okay, I like to keep things pretty simple. When I find something that works, I stick with it. And so I've found what I like for still water, and I have found what I like for moving water. Okay, for still water, undoubtedly is the Phil Rowley style quick release strike indicator. I'll put a link in the description, and basically these are such a great tool. The nice thing about them is that a lot of times when we're lake fishing, before I started using the quick release, I would use like a corky. Okay, a corky with a toothpick in it. The problem with that is, let's say you're setting your indicator at 20 feet and your rod is only 9 or 10 feet long. Well, how are you gonna get a fish into the net with a 20-foot leader? Well, what you used to do is you'd bring the strike indicator right up close to you, you'd pop that little toothpick out, and you'd let the corky slide up and down the leader. Well, the nice thing with these quick release indicators that Phil has designed is you can, once they come under tension, they pop and they slide up and down the leader. Really nice thing about these is that you don't have to manually grab that toothpick out and stick it in your pocket. It's such a beautiful feature. I mean, so I would say that the foam, they're a hard foam. There's a couple little tricks and hacks to make them last a bit longer. You can glue the inside of them. You can, once they start to get stretched out, because they will, you can wrap some electrical tape around the peg. But I mean, honestly, they're so cheap. So basically, I would say for still water, I like a fluorescent orange or fluorescent pink in kind of the medium size round quick release style indicator. Now, when we get into like shallower water, clearer water, spookier fish, or colder water temperature where they're not pulling that indicator down as hard, what I'll do is I'll just bump the size of the indicator down a little bit. And in some extreme scenarios, I've gone to the extent of painting my fluorescent indicators on one side to like a really dull color, or even scratching the paint off so they're just white. It's can be tough when you're fishing really shallow, really clear water. Sometimes you're fishing to really spooky fish. So anyways, A lot of this for still water, a lot of the strike indicator stuff is personal preference. What can you see the best? What works the best for you? For moving water, I've really taken to, I used to use thingamabobbers a lot. I've really taken to these airlock indicators. They're really nice. I find that I don't have any problems with them sliding up and down the leader, and you don't have to kink your leader in any way. They're super buoyant. They come in some neat colors. They're kind of a cool texture. They come in some neat colors that aren't overly obtrusive, so it's nice if you're fishing, high sun or spooky fish, shallow water, clear water, anything. And then if I'm fishing like a really, really, very technical piece of water, then I'll actually go to like an old school, like a New Zealand style, like a yarn indicator. That is, in my opinion, what a true strike indicator is. I don't think that strike indicators were designed to suspend your presentation at any given depth, which is why in still water fishing, I'll often refer to them as bobbers. But that's another controversial topic for another day. Next question comes from Shelly in Vancouver, BC. Says, my husband and I just started fly fishing. Awesome. What's the difference in strip setting versus trout setting, and why would you use a strip set? Well, if you ever go to the tropics anywhere, you'll learn very quickly that there is only one permittable hook set fishing the saltwater flats fishing, and that is the strip set. Now, the nice thing with a strip set, so I'll use this typically when I want a very direct connection to the fish. Typically you're doing it when you're retrieving a fly, so like it's not strip setting when you're fishing with a strike indicator setup, for example, isn't quite as effective because there's often a bit of slack to pick up. Dry fly fishing, for example, strip setting doesn't really work that well, but let's say you're streamer fishing for bull trout, well, strip set is where it's at, in my opinion. I'm going to use the example of fishing for tarpon, because tarpon, my favorite species to chase on the fly, tarpon definitely require the strip set. The hook set, you will lose them 10 out of 10 times. The reason for that is that there's just not as much power in the trout set as there is in the strip set. In the strip set, you're having a very direct connection to the fly, and you can imagine the mouth of a tarpon is like a cinder block. It's really, really hard, okay? And to pierce and penetrate the mouth, you're not really gonna do it by lifting up with the rod, okay? There's just too much shock is being absorbed with just lifting up with the rod alone. But when you're pulling, you're pointing the rod at the fish and you're actually pulling on the fly line, you're really gonna bury that hook. Trout fishing, streamer fishing, I love the strip set because if the fish misses the fly and is still tracking it, I haven't pulled it right out of their nose, right? But also, again, just gives such a direct connection to the fish, direct connection, the hook point. You're just going to pierce, you're going to make the first set count a little bit more. So again, there's times when it is and isn't effective. But for sure, anytime that you need that hook to penetrate, definitely fishing any fish that has a really hard mouth or bone fishing, permit fishing. These are all great examples of when the strip set is critical. It's not just important; it's an absolute must. There really is no other option. If you want to test this, okay, get somebody to hold. And I watched a video demonstration of this. Get somebody to hold the back end of a hook, okay, right at the bend, and get them to hold it as hard as they can. Try to pull it out of their hands with a trout set. Ideally, you'll clip the point off the hook when you're doing this. Try to do it with a trout set. It's very difficult. You do it with a strip set, you can pull it out of their fingers each and every time. So that's kind of just gives you an idea how much more power there is in the strip set. And the last one comes from Jeff in Little Rock, Arkansas. Cool. Says, what is the best knot to join two pieces of tippet together in an irregular diameter? Okay, so two different diameters. So we know that the blood knot and the surgeon's knot, those are great knots for joining two tippets together that are similar diameter. So say like 3x to 4x, 4x to 5x, 2x to 3x, 4x to 4x, so on and so on. But what about two tippets that are a different diameter? So you'll run into this sometimes in certain fishing situations, and it's nice to know how to join these two together. I'll use kind of the saltwater example again. let's say we're building a leader where we're joining, say, 100-pound bite tippet, a short section of 100-pound bite tippet, to a section of 16 or 12 or 20-pound class tippet. You can't just tie them together with a blood knot. I mean, the bite tippet is too stiff. It's not gonna work. Okay, so the knot that I use, I have used one in the past called a Slim Beauty. It's a saltwater knot. It's an amazing, gorgeous knot. Takes you a little bit to learn how to tie it, but really, really strong. That would be my first suggestion. And then the next one would be, I use this one quite a bit, an improved blood knot. You're basically doubling the thin line, and you're tying. It's a pretty simple knot from there. But what you're doing is you need to increase the diameter of that thin tippet. So what you're doing with both the Slim Beauty and the improved blood knot is you're actually increasing the diameter by folding it in half, and you're tying 2 strands of it versus against the 1 strand of the thicker tippet. So hopefully this makes sense. If you like tying knots, we've got a free knot tying course. You can go to flyfishuniversity.com/knots, and I will leave a link down below in the description for that too. Teaches you 6 knots that really, I mean, if you're fly fishing in freshwater for trout, there's really only 6 knots that you need to know. Of course, it never hurts to learn more, but these 6 knots are absolutely mission critical. Okay, so you can grab that. It's absolutely free. That's my gift to you. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we've got some exciting things coming up in the next week, so I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday's episode.